afternoon, Chicago.
Good afternoon.
We are the brothers from the Gathering Christ Church, located on 8455 South Cottage Grove. Once again, we are from the Gathering Christ Church. We are a church that follows Christ, but also know who we are according to the Bible. And according to the Bible, we are the true descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We are who Christ was and is when he walked the earth, an Israelite. That's why we come out here today, to speak to the children of Israel. We're not coming out here to speak to black people, to African Americans. We're not coming out here to speak to Mexicans or Puerto Ricans or whatever name that the other nations gave us. But we're coming out here to speak to those who are destitute, those who are living in horrible conditions. We're out here to speak to the people that have been cursed from generation to generation. We're coming to speak to the true children of Israel. Right, so we're going to bring out some scriptures to give you understanding on the condition that you're in, to give you understanding on how you can get yourself out of the current status you're in, right? So we're going to go to the book of Romans, chapter 13.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 13, Romans, verse 11. And that knowing the time, that now is the high time to awake up out of sleep.
It is a high time for our people to awake out of sleep. What is that sleep? As we walk, as we drive through the streets of Chicago, in every neighborhood and city that our people are in, that sleep is vanity. What do I mean by that? That our attention has been caught up into things that are no value, like clothes, hair salons, barbershops, everything that is a vanity that has nothing to do with our condition. We're asleep to the fact that we have other nations prospering off of our people. We have other nations that come and take all of our goods, all of our money.
That's right.
And go back to their own communities.
That's right.
That's what we'll sleep on. We'll sleep on the fact that every time the elections come around, we got people coming to our neighborhoods, giving us false hope of change, and doing their own thing once they get elected. We are asleep on what these other nations are doing to us. We are asleep on the games that they're playing with our lives. This is the sleep we need to wake out of. We need to get to the understanding of who we are according to the Bible. Not according to any other book or any classes you've taken or anything that you watched on TV. But bring forth your understanding, or bring forth the understanding of who you are and who your enemies are. And the Bible proves all of that. To give you understanding on why we have brothers and sisters just walking to and fro in the streets with nowhere to go. Right. To give you understanding on who you are, on why every time you look around, there's unemployment. There's no ability to take care of your own selves. Other people have to do it for you. We'll sleep on the fact that if every nation were to close shop in this neighborhood, we won't have anything to eat. We won't be able to have any clothes to wear because we don't own anything.
That's right.
These are the things that we'll sleep on. That if every nation that has something in our neighborhood, a store, the Arab, the Asians. If they were to decide to close up shop, we would not have anything because we're asleep. But the Bible is telling us to wake up out of that sleep. Keep reading.
This is verse 11. And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than when we believed.
Our salvation is nearer than what we believe. That means it's getting close to the time of Christ coming back. And the closer it is when Christ is coming back, the harder the times will be. And we're trying to wake our people up to let them know that Jacob trouble is coming. That the times we think are rough now are going to get even worse. We're trying to school our people on this no more time for sports, no more time for TV or entertainment or what music that came out. But it's time to get ourselves together concerning our nation, concerning our people, concerning what we're going to do when things start to turn off. As we found out in California, they've been having power outages everywhere for weeks. And people in our communities, people don't know what to do, have nowhere to go. The government is not looking out for them. We all remember Katrina and how our people were destitute. They put them all in one stadium, like animals, like rats. No food, no water. These are signs of things to come. Definitely here in Chicago. That's why we need to wake up, because the closer our salvation is, best to believe, the closer all these other atrocities are going to happen to our people. All these sufferings are going to happen to our people. We got to realize and understand that this life is not a game, that this is not a joke. Our people like to wait till the last minute.
That's right.
A lot of times we're not going to have that time. It's going to be too late. You're going to be locked up in these facilities that turn into concentration camps. These huge mega churches that you think that's your home is going to be a holding facility. You got to understand and wake up that this is not your home. Just like our forefathers came over here as slaves, we got to remember, this is not our country. We were brought over here as property. We were brought over here to do a work. We didn't come over here on our own.
That's right.
We didn't come over here as we wanted to. We're not what they so-called immigrants. It wasn't in our power to come here. We were taken here. And we've gotten very, very comfortable, not realizing those who are ruling over us has a plan to destroy us. So we're going to continue to give you understanding on why your conditions are the way they are now. It's because we chose to follow these same nations that are ruling over us. And the Bible speaks to a certain individual, certain people, that if they will follow these nations, that they will suffer the wrath of the God of the Bible. Right?
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 12, verse 29. When the Lord thy God shall cut off the nations from before thee, whither thou goest to possess them, and thou succeedest them, and dwellest in their land, take heed to thyself that thou be not snared by following them.
Right. So the God of the Bible explains that the children of Israel, when you go into your land, that you're not supposed to follow after the nations that he just took out of the land. Because you will be snared by them. What is a snare? It is a trap. It's something you get caught up in. And normally if you get caught up into a trap, that means you're going to die. That means you're going to have some suffering. Right? Just like this ambulance is going by. That's the second ambulance that just went by in the last 5 minutes. This is what happened to our people since we followed the nations. We've been caught up in a snare. The city of Chicago is a snare. It's a trap for God's people. We are suffering in this trap. We have no deliverance in the city of Chicago or in this country. Once again, this is not our home. This is the home of the nations, of the Gentiles. And they're operating how they're supposed to, according to the Bible, as heathens. But it's our responsibility as the children of Israel, as men of the living God, servants of the Most High, to bring that light to those without it, to bring forth that understanding according to the Bible, right? Read that over again.
Take heed to thyself that thou be not snared by following them.
Take heed, that's the Most High. Take heed that we do not follow them. Keep reading.
And that thou inquire not after their gods, saying, how did these nations serve their gods?
And inquire not on how these other nations serve their gods. Inquire not about Buddhism. Inquire not about Islam. Inquire not about Egyptology. The Most High God said, inquire not to what these other nations are doing and how they serve their gods, because that'll lead his people to doing works that are against him. Right? Keep reading.
Thou shalt not do so unto the Most High thy power. For every abomination to the Lord, which he hated, have they done unto their gods. For even their sons and their daughters they have burnt in the fire to their gods.
So the Most High said, don't do after these nations, because what they do is an abomination to him. So all these things that the nations do that we clamor after is against the God of the Bible. It is even against us. Right? How is it against us? Poor health. When we follow these other nations, we get poor health because of the diets they eat. These other nations eat anything that's not tied down. And when we follow right after them, guess who gets sick? We do. Guess who gets cancer? We do. Guess who dies earlier? We do. Because we're following after the other nations. We're following after a people or a nation that have no laws, no understanding. That's why we get destroyed. So we got to wake up. It's time to wake up. Israel. It's time for us to stop sleeping on our conditions. Stop sleeping on how we're living. Because if we continue to sleep, we're going to be put to sleep by these nations.
That's right.
Psalms 83. Keep not thou silence, O God.
This is David. This is a prophecy. The Bible says, we're asking, this is the children of Israel, keep not thy silence, O Most High.
For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they have hate thee. They that hate thee have lifted up the head.
So the Bible says that the children of Israel has enemies. A lot of our people don't understand that we do have enemies. You think that you go into a store and you dealing with an Arab, right? You don't think that he's your enemy. But if he's selling you anything under the sun that is going to defile your body, that is going to make you sick, he is your enemy. He doesn't have your best interest at hand. If he's out here selling you grape juice, grape soda, flaming hot Cheetos, Little Debbie donuts, if he's selling you all the crap, if he's selling you Pepsi, Mountain Dew, he's offering you lotto tickets, he is your enemy.
Bring it out.
It's amazing. You don't go into their neighborhoods and you don't see this crap. You don't go to a gas station and see t-shirts 3 for $10.
Bring it out.
These are what you call your enemy. You don't go, I mean, they sell you anything. If it was a rat on a stick, we'd probably buy it. If they had barbecue on it.
Bring it out.
That's
huh?
right.
Now.
If it was covered in chocolate. Whatever they give us, we'll take. It'll be expired. Oh, they'll eat it. I just mark it cheap. Guess how I know? My wife used to work for them. They do not care about us, even though they may smile on your face and think they're all right. If they're selling you crap that's going to eventually kill you, this is your enemy. Keep reading.
Psalms 83, verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. Verse 4. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation.
They said, come and cut Israel off from being a nation. Right? How are they doing that? We have no opportunities to take care of ourselves. They cut off every avenue. We can't get any credit. We know we can't get any land. We can't get any businesses on our own. Every time it starts up, something happens, we go unemployed. They're cutting us off from being a nation with murder, brutality, abortion, religion. All these things are cutting us off from being a nation, cutting us off of our heritage. These are all things that are a part of being a nation. Let's cut them off. But they don't know and understand who they are. Let's cut them off at the knees. Let's get to their children. Let's teach them homosexuality so they won't be able to reproduce as a nation. Let's find every way that we can stop the children of Israel from being a nation. Let's let our so-called wise or so-called elderly not speak to the youth anymore. Let's make a division between the both of them. So wisdom is not passed down. These are ways that cut off a people from being a nation. Let's put the Vita dialysis in the community. Let's tell them the crap that'll kill them. These are things that destroy our people from being a nation. These are the things that we don't understand, that we have to find out. These are things that we're asleep on. Keep reading.
Verse 4. That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
So the name of Israel will be no more longer in remembrance. What does that mean? We got a people over in our land right now that said that they're the true chosen people. How do they do that? When we came over here as slaves, guess what? You gonna change your name. Guess what? We're gonna kill off those who know your culture. We're gonna give you a European name. We're gonna give you European customs.
That's right.
So you no longer know how you used to operate. We're gonna have you celebrate Halloween. That nonsense and that garbage. We're gonna have you celebrate Thanksgiving that's coming up. We're gonna give you Christmas. All the things that came from your oppressor. And guess what? Those who say they don't follow the white man, if you still celebrating Christmas and Thanksgiving, you are still following the white man.
That's right.
You still serving the European, just like your ancestors did when they came over here.
That's right.
If you still going to church on Sunday, guess what? You still following the so-called white man.
That's right.
Make it period. Make it period, huh?
Because that's what our ancestors did when they were slaves. They did what their master told them to do. So if you think that you're your own man, if you still doing these things, guess what? You still following your master.
That's right.
Keep reading.
Psalms 83, verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent.
They have consulted together. All these nations that are in our neighborhoods, right? That are selling our people. Whatever they want, they are in consent. Even though you don't think they are in consent. And they agreed upon what?
They are confederate against thee.
They are confederate, meaning they have come together against Israel, against the so-called black man. These nations have come together against the Hispanic, right? The so-called minority in this country. And I'm not talking about white women. I'm talking about the real minorities. They have consulted against us. And we continue to be asleep on that. They all know what they need to do. We can come in, we can sell them whatever we want. They're gonna buy it. Don't tell them about who they are. Just keep giving them, selling them nonsense. Just keep giving them Jordans. Give them a shirt with an image on it. Give them some weave. Give them some clothes, some flashy clothes. This is what we're gonna sell them. Because this is all they want anyway. Just one thing, do not tell them who they are. Because they just might come back. So we're gonna just keep giving them the nonsense that they clamor after. We're gonna continue to give them the flashy stuff that they seek. We're gonna continue to speak the dead language. It is hood language that they speak. We're gonna promote their wickedness. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna promote their wickedness. We're not gonna allow them to know that they were once a regal people, a people of understanding. We're not gonna let them know that. We're gonna let them know all the stuff that Willie Lynch, all the stuff that the TV promotes. We're going to continue to showcase that in their communities. This is what they're confederate on. This is what these nations have one consent and a decree on.
That's right. It's a word.
Is to continue to keep our people down. That's why we don't have anything in our communities that we can hang our hat on.
Bring it out.
Outside of barbershops and nail salons.
Bring it out.
That's the only thing our people have success in vanity. A haircut, a fresh lining ain't gonna do nothing if I can't feed my family.
That's right.
My nice nails with some rhinestones are not gonna do nothing if I have the bread to prepare a meal for my family. This is what we always do. It's all vanity. It's all for show. But once again, we are asleep on the things that we need to be doing as a nation, as a people. And that is to provide for one another, like the other nations are doing. They continue to build upon our brokenness and going back home and reaping the rewards of it. Keep reading.
Psalms 83, verse 6. The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites.
So we get, according to the Bible, see, y'all sleep on the Bible. Y'all don't understand that the Bible has the history of everything. The beginning of man, the beginning of all these nations. The Bible has all that information. Edom, that's what the so-called European, right? These are the people that are confederate against us. I'm not talking about the so-called everyday Joe Blow, the one that's called John, Rick, or Paul. We're not talking about them. We're talking about those who are in the White House, those who are running our states and in our Congress. Those are the ones. Those are the white people you need to be looking at. Those are the ones that are sending down laws against our people. Those are the ones that are writing in legislation to put us in jail. Like that chump Joe Biden. This brother keep retracting every time he talking about that crime bill that he was so passionate about in '94. But then when he gets to run for president, now he backtracking.
Bring it out.
These are the tabernacles of Edom. These are the white people that you should be looking at. And also Ishmael. Yeah, these are the ones in your community. These are the ones that own all the gas stations and the supermarkets. I guarantee you, every gas station, every supermarket that's in, just on the south side over here, is somebody, is Ishmael or the Arab. I guarantee it. These are the people that are against you. Ishmael is the one that's going to have your people outside sweeping the front of the store for nickels or pennies on a dollar, thinking that they're helping out. These are the people, these are those who are confederate against you. They're not putting no money into your community. These brothers are not doing anything for you, but we continue to give our money to them because we don't know who we are. We still asleep. We have to start waking up. We have to start figuring out why our condition is so. Keep reading.
Verse 6 of Moab and the Hagarenes. Verse 7, Gebal and Ammon and Amalek.
And Amalek. All of these are nations according to their true name, according to the Bible, not what they consider themselves today. We got Amalek, that's another part of the white man, the elite, so-called elite. They're garbage too. So-called elite.
Right.
These are the people that you don't see. These are the people that are pulling the strings for Satan. You're not going to see these people because they got their puppets running for them. They got their messages in front of the TV. Y'all think that Trump is doing something? No. He's on the string too.
That's right.
Like everybody in Congress. All these people, Nancy Pelosi, all these garbage people are on strings. And if you look close enough, you'll see them. They are being ran. They have an agenda just like they have an agenda, we have an agenda at the Gathering Christ Church to bring out these people. They'll tell you all the things that you want to hear. It's smooth like butter, but deceit and war is in their heart. Once again, November, the time of the elections and all that stuff, the impeachment, all this stuff is nonsense. They're keeping our people asleep on the fact that they got your driver's license marked. You sleep on the fact that you're being tracked. You sleep on the fact that they're building up new facilities to house you in. Once this nation starts to crumble, our people are asleep. Keep reading.
Psalms 83, verse 7. The Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Verse 8. Assur also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Salah. Verse 9. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin, at the brook of Kizon. Verse 12, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession. Verse 13, oh my God, make them like a wheel as the stubble before the wind.
Right. So right now, over what we so-called the Middle East, all these nations have taken over the land, the true land, not Africa. We got to wake up. That's not the land of the Bible.
That's right.
Right? That's not the place that the Most High has his eyes set on. It is Zion. It is not Africa. That is not our land. The land that they're fighting over in the Middle East, that is our land. That's why there's been so many wars that's continual. Because we have imposters trying to keep a land that is not theirs. These are the things that we're asleep on. They're keeping us asleep saying that we're Africans. And not giving us, they give us everything but our true identity. They give us African American. They give us black. They give us Mexican. They'll give us Puerto Rican. But they won't give us Israel. They're keeping us asleep. They'll teach us everything outside of what, that's why the Bible is so important. Because the Bible is going to show truly who his people is, or his people are. Right?
This is the book of Romans, chapter 3, verse 1. What advantage then hath the Jew? Or what profit is there of circumcision?
They said, what advantage is there that has the Jew? See, there's an advantage, people, to being Israel, to being a so-called black man. Right? To being a so-called minority in this country. There's an advantage. Right? We have an advantage over all the other nations. Keep reading.
Much every way.
Much every way. We have a great advantage over these other nations. Keep reading.
Chiefly because that unto them were committed the oracles of the Most High.
So chiefly, the first thing, that's what chiefly means. The first thing is that we were given a law. We were given a law from the God of all gods. We were given understanding. That's the advantage that we did have. But guess what? We lost that advantage when we decided to serve the nations. We lost that advantage when we decided to get into the mire of the nations, to get into the muck, to get into the dirt of the nations. Right? Do you see somebody who is royal, when somebody who is royal, a king, decide to live in mire with the pigs? It just don't make any sense. If someone who has some class about themselves, who has some decency about themselves, they're not going to follow after somebody that doesn't have that. But that's what our people decide and still do to this day. We follow after a people that doesn't have any understanding. Keep reading.
For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect? God forbid. Yea, let God be true, but every man a liar.
So let God be true. Let this Bible be true. In all the history that you've been taught, a lie. The Bible is true. The Bible is true. What you've learned in school concerning yourself is a lie. Black History Month is putting our people to sleep. All these other things are putting our people to sleep. And they're not telling us how to get out of our condition either.
Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 12. And further, by these, my son, be admonished. Of making many books, there is no end.
My son, be admonished for making many books where there is no end. There's a million books out here that try to tell us who we are. We got all these libraries with all these books, all these writers, all these authors. And they all don't compare to the Bible. For the black man, for the Hispanic, they don't compare because they're not telling you who you are. They're telling you the lie that you've learned since you've been over into this country. That you're slaves, that you're African. These books will make you weary in understanding. These books will put you in a snare and entrap you. These books give you a false identity of yourselves. Keep reading.
And much study is a weariness of the flesh. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter.
So the conclusion of the whole matter, right, we're going to find out what that conclusion is for the black man, for the minority, for the Hispanic. Keep reading.
Fear God and keep his commandments.
Fear God and do what?
Keep his commandments.
The Bible says the whole duty of man is to fear the God of this Bible. Is to fear the God of this Bible and keep his commandments. See, that's what the nations don't do. And by us following them, guess what? We getting punished for it. We're the ones getting punished for it. We're the ones getting punished for it, right? We're the ones that our neighborhoods look like crap. We're the ones that continue to live in squalor. But these other nations are living it up. No one asks themselves why? How can we be doing the same thing, but we struggling, and they still good?
That's right.
How are we doing the same thing, and they opening up shops and businesses, and we can barely keep a checking account?
That's right.
How could it be so that they can live in high rises, and we can barely afford rent for an apartment? But we doing the same thing. I thought everything was equal. I thought John 3:16 was real.
That's right.
Man, you swimming. Ooh, you in that water today.
I thought it was real. Didn't God create all men equal? Isn't that what they say in the Constitution? Once again, we are asleep on what is going on in our communities, what is going on in our neighborhoods, what is going on in this country. We are letting other people talk for us. We're letting other people who don't follow the law, statutes, and commandments, those who are puppets, we're letting them speak for us. We continue to put people in office or put people over us that are not even over our nations. We keep talking about Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton, all this garbage, all these so-called political talking points. It's putting us to sleep. Now we're talking about reparations. What's that? What the AOS? What is that? ADS? Nonsense. Now the talking points is reparations. Oh, they got to give me back what we didn't do anything. That's why our forefathers, if anybody had a gripe, it would be them. This country doesn't owe us anything but to give us back our God and our Bible.
That's right.
We don't want the defiled thing. We don't want their riches. Christ is our reparations. He gonna deliver us. We're not looking to have any other nation give us anything, because what we're gonna get is gonna come from Christ. It's gonna come from Yeshua, the Son of the living power. We don't want what these nations have. We're gonna get our own. But until we understand that, we're gonna continue to suffer from these curses. And we're gonna get something for you.
Leviticus chapter 26, verse 14. But if ye will not hearken unto me, and will not do all these commandments.
So this is the Most High. He's speaking to his people. He said, if you will not hearken, that means if you won't listen, and if you won't keep my commandments. See, this is the thing we sleep on once again. Our churches are putting us to sleep. With our mouths open, with slime running down the side of our mouth. They got us well asleep, in a deep sleep. These commandments is what's keeping you from the Father. These commandments is what's keeping you from rising as a nation. Because it's nothing that is physical that you can see with your eyes. It is spiritual. You have a spiritual hand that is cutting you off from the things that you need. Like proper health care, proper food and the proper diet, proper housing. It's because we continue to follow these nations in their ways. Keep reading.
Verse 14 of Leviticus chapter 26, verse 14. But if ye will not hearken unto me, and will not do all these commandments, and if ye shall despise my statutes, or if your soul abhor my judgments, so that ye will not do all my commandments, but that ye break my covenant, I also will do this unto you.
So the Most High is setting this up. He said, if you will continue to not follow after me and despise, that means to hate, to follow my commandments and my statutes, he got something for his people. Guess what? And I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at women walking by themselves. I'm looking at men groping in the noonday, walking back and forth. I'm looking at children, teenagers by themselves. I don't see families walking around these neighborhoods. I don't see the husband and the wife and their children walking together in these streets. Everybody is single out here. Everybody is on their own.
That's right.
This is what happens when you don't follow God's commandments. This is what happens to a nation that's been chosen, that he gave his law, statutes, commandments to, and they did not, and they forsake them. They despise them. This is what happens when a person or a community or a nation despises the Most High. This is what we see. We see everybody doing their own thing. Well, I'm my own man. I'm my own woman. That's garbage.
That's right.
You nothing without your community. Haven't you heard there's strength in numbers? But we have been separated from our God, and obviously we have been separated from one another. Keep reading.
Leviticus 26, verse 16. I also will do this unto you. I will even appoint over you terror, consumption, and the burning ague that shall consume the eyes and cause sorrow of heart, and ye shall sow your seed in vain, for your enemies shall eat it.
Exactly. He's going to put over you plagues, diseases. Like I said earlier, that's why you have DaVita dialysis on every corner. He's plaguing your body because you're not keeping his dietary laws. He's plaguing your community with terror of gang violence and of police. He's putting nations, your enemies, where you're sowing your seed, meaning that you're going to work. You're trying to sow something better for yourself. But other nations are eating it up. Your politicians are eating it up. Arabs, Asians are eating it up. All that you are sowing, all that you are working hard for, other nations are pocketing it. You are being pimped out here, Chicago. These nations are pimping you. And I'm sure everybody looked at that Dolomite too. That's what they're doing. They're doing a straight Dolomite on our nation.
That's right.
Bring it out.
Only thing they need for us to do is raise that skirt a little higher, show a little bit more. Because they are tricking us out here. And we don't see it. But we continue to ask for more. And don't realize we continue to be destroyed. Keep reading.
Leviticus 26, 17. And I will set my face against you.
The Most High will set his face against us.
That's right.
Can we tell that? That we have been forsaken? We're not going to get help from the other nations, because we just read in Psalm 83 they're enemies. You're not going to get a handout. You're not going to go into one of these beauty supply stores, and the Asian going to say, hey, you need any help? No, are you going to buy and get out? Hurry up and buy and get out.
That's right.
That's what they're going to tell you. They're going to lock up their store. They're going to pull down that gate. They're going to get in that little Mercedes. They're going to roll out.
That's right.
And they'll do it again the next day. The same thing for the Arab. They're going to try to sleep with our women. They're going to try to act like they cool and down with us. They'll do the same thing. They're going to close up shop, pull down that gate, get into their nice luxury vehicle, and roll off. And our community is not the better for it. We don't even challenge them either. We got guys beating up women in Asian nail salons. And our people are still going back and buying from them. This is a people that God has forsaken. A people that once had wisdom, but decided to follow the nations and lost that wisdom. How can you have a shop, you got some Asian dude, some little Asian punk beating up on sisters. The sisters are not saying anything. The men are not doing nothing. And they still honoring this crap. This is a nation of people that the God of the Bible have forsaken. This is what we see. A people divided. Keep reading.
And ye shall be slain before your enemies. They that hate you shall reign over you.
Those that hate you, man, that's a bad shape. Those that hate you will reign over you. That's bad. If your enemy is ruling over you, every time he look at you, he has the power to do something to you. You have no control or no might in your own hand. These nations, once again, hate us. And the sad thing about it, we don't even know why. We don't know why the nations hate us. We just think it's because of the color of our skin. Nope. We don't know and understand why. We don't even get an answer from those who are supposed to be intellectuals. They don't have the answer. Because guess what? They learn from the nations. But we bring the truth and understanding according to who you are and why you've been hated is because you are the children of Israel. You have been chosen by the God of all gods, the God who created heaven and earth and everything that's in it. They are jealous of us. But until we understand and start picking up this word, we're going to continue to be asleep on why we're being treated as such. We're going to continue to be asleep to why we have police, undercover police in our communities 24/7. Every time we look around, here come another one, another ambulance. Guarantee if you go to any other community, if you go to Schaumburg, you go to any other place, you're not hearing all these police sirens. Something's broken, people. When are we going to wake up and start seeing what is broken to fix it? Keep reading.
Verse 17, and ye shall flee when none pursueth you.
So we always going to be in fear. We always going to be afraid. We're going to be afraid from the time we leave our home and until the time we come back. We're going to always have our backs turned, looking back, seeing if somebody's going to do something to us. We're going to continue to suffer if we don't wake up. Keep reading.
Verse 18, and if ye will not yet for all this hearken unto me,
The Most High said, after I do all these things to you, and if you still won't listen, keep reading.
then I will punish you 7 times more.
7 times more. 7 times more. 7 times more when we continue to be punished, that he will punish us. So he punishes us once and then 6 on top of that. Our communities looks like we've been punished 7 times more. Our families look like they've been punished 7 times more. Our nation has been punished 7 times more because we do not listen. We do not uphold the word, the Bible. We continue to follow the heathen. We continue to follow the heathen. We continue to run behind nations that have no understanding. When the Most High gave us the understanding to give to them. But guess what we did? Nope. We like what they're doing. We like lawlessness. They actually made it seem like wisdom. They actually made foolishness seem like it's wisdom. They actually pulled it off. They actually pulled off foolishness as wisdom. Anytime you can say you in a country that's free, but your own land, if you have a house, you gotta pay taxes for it. They pulled it off. How can you say you are a homeowner and you don't even own the land that your home is on? That is foolishness, considered as wisdom. How can I say I'm a car owner, I own my car, and you're making payments on it? That's foolishness that has been turned into wisdom. That's foolishness turned into wisdom. But this is what we decided to follow. We decided to follow foolishness and put down the wisdom of the Bible. Once again, people, we are asleep out here. I'm free. I'm an American. Really. You can't do whatever you want. I can't go take this land. Guess what's going to happen? I'm going to be put in jail. But I'm free. I'm so-called free. They are putting us to sleep. They are rocking us to sleep. Instead of these cars, we should have a bunch of cribs out here. Because that's what we in. We are in sleep mode. Give me Jeremiah 10:1.
Jeremiah chapter 10. Hear ye the word which the Most High speaketh unto you, O house of Israel.
Read that again.
Hear ye the word which the Most High speaketh unto you.
The Most High says, speak ye the word. To who?
O house of Israel.
O house of Israel. The Most High said, listen to this word, O house of Israel. Keep reading.
Thus saith the Most High.
Thus saith the Most High. He's going to give us true wisdom. Keep reading.
Learn not the way of the heathen.
Learn not the way of the heathen. Read that again.
Learn not the way of the heathen.
Learn not the way of the heathen. That's the Most High continue to tell our people. Learn not the way of these nations. These are the foolish people that he's put over us. But he continued to warn our people before we got into the condition not to learn the way of the heathen, not to follow after their customs, because their customs do not profit us anything. It don't profit our health. It don't profit our well-being. It don't profit us anything. The Most High said, learn not the way of the heathen. Keep reading.
And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven.
And be not dismayed at whatever they worship. Right? Be not dismayed at what they're dismayed at, because they're foolish. We know better. Right?
1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 19. For the wisdom of this world is foolishness with God.
The wisdom of this world is foolishness to the Most High. Once again, this world has made foolishness as wisdom, and they pulled it off. And why have they pulled it off? Because the children of Israel continues to follow in it. Our people continue to follow in foolishness. That's why they've been able to pull it off. Keep reading.
He taketh the wise in their own craftiness. Verse 20. And again, the Most High knoweth the thoughts of the wise, and that they are vain. Verse 21. Therefore let no man glory in men, for all things are yours.
Exactly. Once again, we're not supposed to follow after the nations because they are foolish. Their ways and their customs are vain to the Most High. What is vain? What is vanity? It means it's worth nothing. It's garbage. So my brothers and my sisters out here, I hope you are listening, that we continue to bring forth the understanding to our people. We are from the Gathering of Christ Church. We're located on 8455 South Cottage Grove. Come and get some understanding concerning who you are, that you may not go down with the ship. Shalom.
Really breaks my heart. Cause we've been lied to. misled for years, calling out to the most high on his trail of tears.